Thank you for joining us on today's episode of the Cancer Project podcast. We are really privileged to have Britney Haynes with us today. Many of you may know her from very popular reality TV shows like Big Brother, Amazing Race, and Traitors. We are very fortunate to have her as an integral part of the marketing team at the Oklahoma Proton Center, but she also has a very unique experience as the mother of a pediatric cancer survivor. And so we're going to cross all of those topics today on the podcast. We hope that you will enjoy this episode. Britney, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you work with us at the Oklahoma Proton Center. I think, how long have you been working with us?
A little over 3 years.
Okay. And yep. I remember that first conversation that we had at what was the Mexican restaurant in Tulsa?
Los Cabos.
Yeah,
yep.
Down on the Riverwalk. We were sitting there eating chips and salsa, talking a little bit about your experience as the mom of a pediatric cancer survivor, but then also talking a little bit about proton therapy.
Yeah.
Do you remember what we talked about then? Like had you heard of proton therapy at that point?
So being that I have been in sort of the pediatric oncology world, I feel that I'm more versed than probably the average person. So I had heard of it in that I am in various like Facebook groups, et cetera, and I always try to stay current on like whatever. I never left them, even though my daughter's treatment was 12 years ago. I never left those groups because I always wanted to stay current on whatever the new therapies were. If we had new treatment modalities, whatever, all the things. Maybe it's anxiety, I don't know. I just never wanted to leave and like close it completely. So I have seen probably hundreds of posts about photon versus proton therapy. It's a question that I have seen be asked countless times from parents who are, their child is going through radiation treatment. So I was aware of it, although my daughter never had radiation. Okay. So it wasn't a personal choice that I had to make, but I was aware of it just through osmosis of the pediatric oncology community.
Were you aware there was a proton center in Oklahoma City? Or
no, I don't think so.
Not in the state.
I didn't really have an idea that it was like so rare or any of like the details of it, where the nearest one was, anything like that. Just aware that this is a thing. This is a thing that exists that some people seek out. So we have T-shirts that we wear at the Proton Center that say, "Ask me about proton therapy." Yes.
On the back of the T-shirt. You've had the privilege of wearing those T-shirts
time
from time to time.
I wear them actually all the time.
A staple of your wardrobe. Yeah, no, they're great. So when someone asks you at the grocery store about proton therapy, what do you tell them?
Oh my gosh, I'm like an expert now.
I do believe that.
I'm actually super good.
That is true. That is true.
And the truth is, I do believe in it. Like I do actually really believe in the science of proton therapy, and I understand that it's not always indicated for everyone, but especially in like a pediatric population where every organ structure is really developing and so critical, it's especially a great choice for pediatric patients. But essentially, protons versus photons. Traditional radiation is photon radiation or X-rays, which travel all the way through the body. They cannot stop inside of the body. So you have an entry dose, you have exit dose, and it is a sort of broader brush of radiation going through your body. The difference is proton therapy, we are able to stop the beam inside the tumor. So you have no exit dose going through all the way through the body, and it protects those organs and structures around the tumor so that there's less long-term damage. And specific to pediatrics, when you're talking about surviving another 70 years, it's so much even more imperative, more important that you protect those healthy tissues, that you protect those critical organ structures. So in the same tumor that maybe in an adult you may not consider that they might want to explore proton therapy, in a child you would.
Right.
Because it's even more important as a part of their overall development, and the fact that they're still growing, those cells are still multiplying, that they need to protect those structures.
That
around the
was,
tumor.
I mean,
that
better
was so
than
good. I don't know.
you
that-
could explain it even.
That might have been better than I could have explained
Truly.
it.
Thank you.
You must work in marketing for a proton center.
I was going to say you're hired, but
Yeah,
you're
you're
already
hired.
here,
I'm
so
already
you're
hired.
stuck with us.
Okay, so
I mean,
now
I really do believe
yeah.
in it though, like
Yeah.
truly. And I have had a lot of people that are skeptical, especially like when I first started working for the
Right.
Proton Center. I had multiple doctors be like, what is that? That seems weird.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't that like experimental?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that really a thing? I've had to defend it
Yeah.
like many times and be like, no,
And is that the
it is
pitch you
real.
give them when you're defending it, or are you a little more
If I
sensitive?
have like one thing that I like to leave with, it's pretty much always like, if you are treating your child,
Mm-hmm.
this is the route that you would go. So just,
Right. It's hard to
I
argue
feel like
with
that speaks
Yeah.
for
Right.
itself.
Yeah.
Whether you want to do that with your own, with your prostate, that's on you. You make that choice.
Right.
But if this was a child,
Yeah.
and when protecting those organs are
right.
it's so
as little
important.
collateral damage as possible to
Yes,
healthy tissue.
when you're looking at long-term survival and having the least amount of side effects possible, it is something that you are going to explore to seek out, and that speaks for itself. I
Right.
feel.
So I'm going to really put you on the spot now.
Oh, no.
We have a rare version of the Oklahoma Proton Center shirt.
Okay.
This is like the the limited edition Labubus that everybody
yeah.
are trying to get right now. We have a limited edition Oklahoma Proton Center shirt that says "Ask me about the Bragg Peak."
Oh, of course I know
On the
about
back.
I've
Bragg
never even
Peak.
seen this shirt
So
before.
yeah, I mean,
vintage.
I only break it out a couple times a year.
Are you going to ask me about William H. Bragg?
I am going to ask you
Two G's.
about the Bragg Peak.
The 2G's Bragg
Yes,
Peak.
yes,
Yeah. Know
yes.
all about it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay.
What's
is
a Bragg Peak?
The Bragg Peak is what differentiates proton therapy really in that you're able to minimize the amount of dose that's going in, and the explosion or the Bragg Peak or the firework, if you want to,
Oh yeah.
visualize it. The Bragg Peak is it's the
point of maximum
Yes,
dose
the point
deposit.
of maximum
Yep.
dose that's deposited, and they can do that inside the tumor, and then an immediate drop off. That is named after William H. Bragg,
Yeah.
who I believe identified this property,
Yep.
and it is what differentiates, and it's also a part of our
I
logo.
was gonna
Oh,
say,
that's
yeah,
true.
fun
Yeah, look at
fact.
this on the,
Here on the O to the
and
K.
then the K here.
That is
That's the
representative
Bragg.
of
Yeah,
the Bragg
it's a
Peak
visual,
right there.
Yep.
A
yep.
visual aid.
Yeah, that was really good.
Nice try, though.
Yeah.
Any other brain busters?
Yes.
You came prepared. No, I won't ask you what year the cyclotron was invented and who invented it.
I could get really close.
Okay.
I could get really close.
So
the
we need a
cyclotron
year-
specifically was
The cyclotron. We need
this
it.
was at Berkeley.
Okay, yeah. So you got the location.
Okay,
Yep.
it was Berkeley, and I want to say it was the late 40s.
A little bit earlier.
It was.
Yep. A little bit earlier.
A little bit earlier.
Yeah. Do you know the person who invented the cyclotron?
What is it? The father of proton therapy? Oh God, I've heard this so many times. The father of proton therapy is
What's it start
Well,
with? Give her a hint.
the-
first name is Robert.
So he's the father of proton therapy. It's somebody else who invented the cyclotron.
Okay.
And his
I was
name,
thinking of Robert Wilson.
Yeah.
I would have
Robert
sped
Wilson.
that
No,
up,
that's-
so I didn't even have the right answer.
a very important figure in
Sorry.
the history of proton therapy, Robert Wilson. He wrote the seminal paper in
Got it.
1946 that described how protons and this physical principle of the Bragg peak could be used to treat cancer patients.
Okay.
So he publishes this paper in 1946. Now, he was a PhD student at the California Berkeley Radiation Laboratory working for
Herman suit.
the person who
it?
was running the laboratory or jointly running the laboratory, Robert Oppenheimer and Ernest Lawrence.
Oh, I screwed that up.
I have heard this so many times on the cyclotron
Well,
tour circuit.
Yeah.
I've heard you give this speech so many times.
So many times.
I feel like
so many
I'm
times
there
you
I
just
think you were
right now.
overthinking
you black
it.
out at this
Who's
point.
Herman
Yeah.
Suit then? Where is that name coming
So
from?
Herman Suit was a really important figure. So he was the radiation oncologist
it.
that was
Okay.
running the
close.
program at the Harvard
That
Cyclotron
was not
Lab
close.
I knew
in
you
the
were trying
60s,
to trick
70s,
us.
and 80s.
When you said specifically cyclotron, I was like, this is
Yeah, we
this
went
is-
way back. Yeah. So
This is even trickier. This isn't even the father.
no, yeah. So Ernest Lawrence, and so now the radiation laboratory bears his name. So it's the Lawrence Berkeley Laboratory
I see.
out in California. So
We almost passed.
We
Yeah.
were so close. I
Yeah.
should know that.
I feel like we got closer than anybody else would, though.
Well, now you
I
have
said
100%.
Berkeley.
you got
You got that.
the location. You got Heather. You got Robert Wilson, the father of proton therapy,
But
and
that
Herman
wasn't the
Suit.
question.
Herman Suit's a deep dive, and again, he was a really important figure. And I guess just to close the loop on, and then we'll get back to you and your
Okay.
story, Brittany. Let me just close the loop here on the history of proton therapy while we're at it. So Robert Wilson publishes the paper in 1946. 1954, the first patient is treated with proton therapy at Cal Berkeley Laboratory by John Lawrence, Dr. John Lawrence, who's Ernest Lawrence's brother. So, famous brothers today, Jason and Travis Kelsey. Well,
Yes.
These were the Jason and Travis Kelsey
their time.
equivalent, of their time.
Okay.
Of science.
Of science, yeah. John Lawrence and Ernest Lawrence. So 54, then there were thousands of patients treated in the United States with protons in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And a lot of those patients were treated under the supervision of Herman Suit. So in terms of developing protocols for how to use protons, what's the appropriate dose? How do we immobilize patients on the table? How many treatments is that patient going to get? Herman Suit and his team did a lot to develop that at the Harvard Cyclotron Lab in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So
60s, 70s, and 80s. So hardly experimental in this day and age.
no, that brings up a good point, because I think one of the dynamics, so you're in Tulsa,
That's right.
we're in Oklahoma City, the Proton Center is in Oklahoma City, so there's not a Proton Center in Tulsa.
Correct.
So part of your challenge is you're going out and meeting with physicians and talking in the community is that there's just less awareness
Definitely.
of proton therapy
Yeah,
because there's not a Proton Center in Tulsa.
definitely. And especially if they're not specifically a radiation oncologist or someone who works closely in radiology, if they're a general practitioner or an OBGYN or any of those, they're not as versed specifically in radiation, obviously. And so they really don't have a good understanding. That's usually something that they refer out, and they don't oversee that treatment anyhow. And so there's really just like a lack of awareness and understanding. And it's something that maybe they've heard of before, but as there's not a presence in Tulsa, it's not something that they've like explored
Right.
or
Right.
looked into. So
Yeah.
I would definitely say that's the consensus. But I mean, to call something that has been used for that long, to think that people still think of it as experimental is
Right.
a little crazy.
Yeah,
Without
it's,
doing the research and
it's a little bit more
understanding it.
a lack of awareness
Right.
than anything. So I want to talk a little bit about the experience that you had with your daughter, and we have Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month.
That's right, September.
Is in September.
Go gold.
Go Gold, and you've been a fantastic advocate. So just kind of, I know this has been over 13 years at this point, but talk just a little bit about the experience and the reality of being the mom of a kid who had pediatric cancer. What has that just been
And
like
your first
for you?
child, too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
my
new mom
first-
to your first child.
A new mom. Yeah. Okay. So how would I
You
even
can start
begin?
wherever. Yeah. That's a very open-ended question.
Not anything that I ever prepared for or saw as like in my future whatsoever. I would say, so I did reality TV when I was much younger. I did my first season of Big Brother when I was 22. I did my second season when I was 24 and newly married. And as soon as I finished that second season, I almost immediately got pregnant with my daughter. And was so excited. Like being a mom was something that I always wanted. Like I couldn't have been more excited. And everything was presumed healthy my entire pregnancy. Like I had a very easy pregnancy. Everything was presumed to be fine. Even she was born full term and everything was presumed to be completely fine even at that time. And it just wasn't, and why would it be? It wasn't
Right.
on my radar at all. This wasn't even, I feel like when you're pregnant, you do encounter genetic testing for various markers. You know, they know to look for markers for things like Down syndrome or other chromosomal
They're
abnormalities.
growing on track if they're not growing.
Yeah, like so you're constantly kind of in tune to, you know, hopefully that they're healthy. You go through, you get your 20-week ultrasound, anatomy scan, and you breathe a sigh of relief and you're like, oh, good.
It's
like,
a girl.
all good. Yeah. Like, we're healthy. So of course that was like my mindset too. And even in terms of things that maybe you are warned about or that you are cautioned about, you kind of grapple with the possibility of it. And then you just like breathe a sigh of relief and move on. But so for me, obviously this wasn't even, I didn't even know that babies could have cancer. Right. I didn't even know that was possible. I have, of course, like everyone else, had seen like commercials for St. Jude's and things like that. So I knew that childhood cancer existed. I was unaware that you could be born, like a child could be born with cancer. I didn't even know that was possible.
I think a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah.
That those malignant cells actually can literally be developing in utero.
In utero, yes. Yeah. Actually, some are diagnosed in utero. There are cases of her cancer type specifically that are diagnosed in utero, and babies born that are already presenting symptoms at birth.
Wow.
From their tumor location. But anyhow, so I go through my whole pregnancy. I'm like a spazzy, anxious type anyway. Like that's just like how I always am. So very like psycho obsessed with every single move that this baby is making, And so just I don't even know what to say. Like the moment that it actually happens is life altering. Yeah. It's life altering. It's surreal. Yeah. It's not something that you can prepare for or that was even a possibility, like in the furthest reaches of my mind. Like I said, I had never even heard that this could happen, even on, something that I saw once scrolling the internet or whatever. I didn't even know it was a possibility. So, I mean, it turned our lives completely upside down, obviously. Yeah. And I feel forever changed from it. I feel that it is a definitive part of me now. Mm-hmm. And that experience obviously changed our entire family. I think changed the dynamic of who we are today. Right. And not to over dramatize it, but it really is that impactful. I mean, it really is that soul crushing. Yeah. And I feel that a lot of adults, I've heard so many adult cancer patients say like, oh, well, I would rather it be me than my child or my grandchild or whatever. That is so true. Yeah. It really is. Like you would rather take it for yourself. Yeah. Anything.
Every time. Yeah. Right.
But your child. Yeah. That's the hardest. Yeah. That's the hardest thing I think to kind of grapple with. You feel helpless, you feel powerless, and it's terrible. What was the question? It's awful.
Well, we've heard from other parents who just say, like you said, we wish we could take this from them, but also it never leaves you even, it's been 13 years and you've hit some milestones that are great. You hit 5 years. What did that look like? What did you do to celebrate?
It was
you did
really
something
weird.
Specific.
That's such a mixed bag of emotions for me, is like celebrating those things, but also particularly to a pediatric population, I think that this is a different thing because you are also always aware of how your emotions are going to impact them and their perception of it. And so for the longest time, because my daughter Tilly was so young when she was diagnosed, she was 8 weeks old. And presumably it was in utero, but it was at 8 weeks old that it was detected. And so I actually feel like it's one of those weird, you can find a silver lining in just about any situation. But for me, one of those silver linings with her age, a diagnosis, was that for the longest time, I could just be fully psycho tailspin mode. Like I could just have fear all over my face and live it because I didn't really have to shield her from it so much. You know what I mean? Whereas I feel like with some of even older children, you would have to always be really cautious about how your emotions are also reading to them or
because they pick up on that.
They would pick up on the stress and all those things. So I did always feel pretty fortunate that when we were in the worst of it and in the thick of it, that she doesn't really have any recollection of it. And I do feel like that's a blessing. Sorry, I had something in my face.
So what, you bring up an interesting point because we talked to another family recently from the United Kingdom who actually came back to celebrate their son being 10 years out of treatment. And he also was treated before his first birthday.
Yeah.
And so they had to navigate that. And he has some side effects from going through treatment, which I think the reality is for most pediatric patients, because they're still developing, that any type of major intervention, whether it's surgery or chemotherapy or radiation, there's just going to be signs or side effects of that as that kid develops. How did you navigate the process of talking to your daughter about what she had gone through when she was 8 weeks old?
It was actually I feel like a beautiful and therapeutic process that I myself went to therapy and really learned a lot of like tools and ways to go about this in the healthiest possible way. Because when she was younger, it was very easy for me to just like put my head down and me take charge of everything and to navigate everything and get through it. As she grew and got older and started to ask questions, why are we doing this? Why do we have all these appointments? Why do I do this every week? We got to start incorporating some of those conversations. And it was always really important to me to protect her privacy. And what I mean when I say that is I didn't want other people to know more about what was happening in her body than she even knew because she was so young. And so when she grew to a point that I could start letting her in on this is what happened, this is why we do this, and start having some of those conversations, it actually was really helpful for me too. It kind of felt like I had carried this load for a really long time, and now being able to share it and explain it actually made it easier on me. And we still do have conversations about it all the time. Like she's very aware of it. She knows I want her to be participatory in doctor's appointments. You know, for the longest time I took her to the doctor and she was just sitting there. Like, but I'm the one
asking all the questions.
Talking. I mean, she's just there to be looked at, and but you're talking to me. And so I love now that she gets to be engaged and is a part of the conversation and gets to have an opinion and also gets to have a say and gets educated on everything around her body, on everything around neuroblastoma in general. I've been able to really incorporate her into it all. And it's actually been really, really nice and really helpful. And I do feel like it's been special for the two of us because we're kind of the only two at this point, really. I mean, my husband, love him. He's great. But I'm the medical manager, you know, like that was my role.
I want to take you with me to my appointments. I feel like you are way more organized and would ask all the right questions.
So, and that was always my role. Like he worked full-time, obviously. I stayed home with her and was the primary caretaker. I was the one organizing all the things and going to the appointments. That's another silver lining too, is that I always had the expectation that when she was born, even if she was completely healthy, I was staying home with her. I see so many scenarios where people aren't, it's so much more of an imposition in life. You know, if you're a single mom, how do you now have this immunocompromised small child that needs full-time care and needs all of these things, and now, but you also have to still live life. Like you still have to provide, you still have to take care of yourself and maybe other children. I mean, that's the reality for most people. And that's the reality a lot of times for adult cancer patients as well. They're diagnosed with cancer, but they still have to go to work the next day.
Or like the mom that gets breast cancer and she has little kids at the house and she's having to do chemotherapy and surgery and
not wanting to take away from their life or their activities. Like that's that's why it's, I feel like, always impactful no matter who it is. That's one silver lining that I took out of my situation too, was that I was able to give her a dedicated, full-time, all of my energy, nonstop all the time, because I kind of was already planning on it. So it just went into like hyper-aggressive mode. But that was another sort of silver lining.
So I think one of the things that I've observed now is that you still have a lot of doctor's appointments that you have to go to. And one of the realities with pediatric cancer is that because it's so rare, sometimes the specialists that deal with that cancer, they're not just everywhere,
Right.
It's not like a primary care physician where most people have a primary care physician they can access down the street. Sometimes you literally have had to travel for treatments.
I would say mostly.
Most of the time, yeah. So what's been kind of the reality, even 10 or 12, I think you said 12 years out of treatment, what's that reality still like today as far as just dealing with some of the latent impacts of the treatment that she went through?
And that is,
Just ask it one more time.
Okay. What has been the reality today of just having to deal with some of the latent side effects of the treatments that she went through as a baby?
I think particular to her, it's even, there are even more. She has permanent long-term effects from her cancer type. And she's comfortable with knowing about it and saying that she has to wear a brace. She wears a brace on her leg, her foot. And so there's a lot of, she's been doing physical therapy once a week since she was 8 weeks old.
Right.
Actually, when she was inpatient, she would do it every day. So physical therapy is something that we've had to continue on. And then, she has had other side effects that we have had to deal with, combat. We have sought out opinions really all over the country because for the longest time, my mentality was if I can just uncover the right person or the right place, we can figure this out.
Yeah.
And so it was just a constant effort to find someone else. Who else can I ask? Right. And I think a lot of parents feel that way in the same situation and kind of do the same thing. And then eventually kind of reached a point where it was more maintenance. But we're still there now. And I'm going to be honest, she hates it. She hates it. She hates going to the doctor all the time.
Well, I think you've brought up to me before that there was actually a point where she actually went to you and was like, Mom, we don't need to actually keep trying to fix this. We don't need to be flying to Boston or Chicago or LA.
It took me a lot of years to be comfortable with that. Okay, can I put that down?
Yeah.
And we can just be okay where we are. It took me a really, really long time to get there, to stop the aggressive. Not that I don't still.
Because you see your daughter and you see her in the brace, and what's the natural instinct of a parent is to say, how can I can fix
that?
this?
I think you also see though how strong she is and resilient, and she truly is one of the sweetest, kindest, strongest. Such an amazing kid. You have done such a good job.
Yeah. And I do think that she has an empathy specifically for all types of disabilities, for all types of kids who are going through anything. She has a really special heart for that. And it's something that that's one way that she has been impacted by it for sure, outside of the obvious, but an emotional way that she was impacted by everything that she's been through and everything that she's done and continues to do. I mean, the sad reality is it's every day of our life. It's every single day. We don't get to forget about it and be like, oh, remember that? It's present in every day of our life. And that's not true necessarily for every single patient.
Right.
I would say that that's case by case. But to your point, in pediatrics, most of the time, especially if they have to go for a really aggressive therapy, if they have to have a combination of chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, most of the time there's going to be lingering long-term side effects, even if they're cognitive, even if it's not something that they have to deal with on a functional physical level. Whenever you are later in school and you see an ADHD diagnosis, you have to wonder, you're going to recall, whenever we signed the paperwork for that chemotherapy, it specifically said that this was one of the side effects. Is the ADHD, is there a correlation? Is there a link? So I do think that it stays with you. Even if it's not physically with you, it stays with you in that way as well.
So you have 2 more daughters.
That's right.
Beautiful family. I also have 3 daughters, so we've bonded over that a little bit. What was the process for you going through a second and third pregnancy, just mentally? after what you dealt with the first pregnancy?
Fully spaz, full anxiety riddled spaz. I was able to do things a little bit differently, mostly because I was very aggressive with, more in-depth scanning. Whenever I had my anatomy scan, I went to a high-risk specialist that could see everything way more clear, because that's still a lingering question mark in my mind is if I had done that the first time, could we have gotten there quicker and potentially not necessarily had to deal with a lot of the side effects that we still deal with today. So I was more on top of it in that sense. I also really tried to take comfort in the statistics of the matter. Not that you should, but this is the way that sometimes certain brains find comfort in just thinking about the sheer numbers of it all. Yeah. And does lightning strike twice type thing, and kind of let that resonate in my mind as well. And I think that people probably thought that it was weird because Tilly was only 10 months old, 4 months out of treatment when I got pregnant with my second baby. Okay. And that probably sounds insane. And maybe it was. Yeah. But my attitude at the time was very much that I didn't want to let what had happened to us dictate the rest of my life. Okay. I don't want it to have that power over what our goals always were for our family and I don't know if that was obviously I'm not going to say that was the wrong decision. I love my daughter very much, but I think that a lot of people would go, whoa, wouldn't you maybe take more time? Yeah. Maybe. But in that moment, that was my mindset was I don't want to alter all of our lives permanently forever because this happened. I want to still carry on as much as we can as we would have if it had never touched us. You know what I mean?
And I think that's probably why she's so easygoing too. She's just always had you to.
She's very, very
sisters, and she had to share, and she had to do all the things that normal kids do. They're close.
And my other kids, they are affected by it too, really. Right? Because anytime that I'm traveling for appointments, I'm away. We're having to arrange for them to either have a babysitter or whatever if I'm busy off taking care of Tilly, which I often am. So it's still present. That's what I'm saying. It's still present even in their lives. And there's so many things that they don't question because it's their normal. To them, the fact that she wears a brace, not weird at all. It's been there since forever. It's all they've really known. So they don't think to question it until they're much older. And they're like, hey, nobody at school wears one of those. What's this about? Right. But in other ways, it does impact their life. Yeah. Because and they have been there. I'm sorry, you asked me a long time ago how we celebrated 5 years and those type of things. They've been there when we had those celebrations. Right. They've been there when we've done walks and when we've done,
St. Jude's.
Yeah.
She had turned you into a runner, obviously.
Yes. I ran my first marathon
at the 5-year celebration.
Yeah. That's right. When she was 5 years out of treatment, we celebrated, is that a celebration? By putting myself completely out of my comfort zone and running a half marathon. And my husband ran it with me with no preparation. And a lot of hilarity ensued with that. But
he would.
Minnie was there.
That sounds like stress fractures waiting to happen.
No, he probably just walked off and was great.
No, he was not great.
Oh, was he not great?
No, he was not great.
Ryan.
He was unwell. Yeah. Unwell. But it's always been something that we do try to acknowledge. In however my emotions are working that day, I try to do something that is respectful of her, me, what she's comfortable with, what she's comfortable saying, talking about, doing. It's a collaboration.
Yeah. Well, I love the way that you described getting pregnant 10 months after your first daughter was born and 4 months after you were done with treatment. Mm-hmm. You took a courageous approach and took that head on with bravery and said, I'm not going to live in fear. I'm not going to change what we hope to have with my husband and even with Tilly as far as having siblings. Yeah. And I think courage is the right word. It takes an incredible amount of courage to approach a situation like that in that manner.
That's not to say I didn't live in fear every other day, just not that one.
The fear was there, but you manifested courage. And have you ever just stepped back and counted the number of doctors that you've talked to? Like, I mean, that's got to be just a staggering, or the number of appointments that you've gone to.
It is, but that's probably a lot to blame on me too, because I would be like, nah.
Yeah,
we
second
can do better
opinion,
than this.
third opinion.
Yeah, let's go somewhere
opinion,
else. Yeah, I do that quite a lot. And I also feel that my expectations early on were a little bit unrealistic. Like, I'm a little bit more in tune now with what's even possible.
Yeah.
But I truly, in my mind at that time, was like, I have to find the right person.
Yeah.
And we will fix this.
Right.
And so it was just like this constant rotating door, but it was because I felt like that was my job.
Yep.
My job is to fix this. My job is to find the one person who is going to be able to, work a miracle or whatever.
The cure is out there. Yeah.
If I just find it. And that's a terrible way to live. Like, that's a terrible pressure to live under. It takes a lot of time, I think, like a lot of time and work to get away from that mentality.
Yeah.
But that was my mentality for years.
Well, but I would say to that, though, I think every patient or caretaker of a patient needs to be their own best advocate. We talk about that all the time at the Proton Center. There's nobody that's going to care more about your daughter than you. And that's not to say that doctors don't care. They do care, of course.
Goes back, though, to what you said, going out in Tulsa to doctors' offices. They don't know what they don't know. And what are they telling other people?
Exactly.
They don't know.
That is like the number one thing that I say to almost anybody is you cannot count on someone else to find the answer.
Right.
You just can't.
Yeah.
And it's not because maybe they're not well-intentioned. It's not because they don't want the best. I think that a lot of people have this trust in medicine in general that you can just go to one doctor and they definitely know everything because they're a doctor, and you can just, it's gold, bank on it and move on. And I'm not in any way saying that they intentionally mislead or whatever, nothing like that. But you do have to be your own advocate in that you are the only person who really truly knows your own case inside and out, knows the details. You're the one living it every single day. And it is somewhat a responsibility to make sure that you
get that second opinion, third opinion, fourth opinion, whatever you need.
And seek out those options. And honestly, for me, I would say this to anyone, like a group of your peers is so helpful and impactful. I learned so much whenever I got into specific groups for neuroblastoma.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I still learn who's doing what, at what center, what doctor is doing. I mean, that's how I still know. The community is very, very impactful in terms of knowledge and educating yourself. And
so you would say if a person has been diagnosed with cancer or has a family member who's been diagnosed with cancer, it is important to connect with other people that either have gone through that same journey or are walking through that journey at that time.
100%.
Yeah.
And not even just from a treatment standpoint, also from an emotional standpoint. It was really difficult for me to have a 4-month-old baby going through cancer treatment when all of the friends from my birth class were, talking about teething.
Right.
And I didn't feel like anyone understood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I sought that community out for emotional need as well. I wanted to know someone else going through a similar, just if nothing else, so that we can, who am I going to talk to about, hey, how are you changing your baby's chemo diapers? You're not allowed to touch chemo urine from a chemo patient. It's toxic.
Wow.
It has chemo in it still. So you have to change their diapers a certain way. You have to wear gloves. I was gloving and masking long before COVID.
Right. Wow.
Things that I didn't feel like other parents could relate to.
Right.
And so for me, seeking out that community was, oh my gosh, so helpful. Not, like I said, not just from knowledge, but emotional as well.
And I think the nice thing now, and even 12 years ago, but certainly now, is you can find those groups online. And you almost especially had to, because there's not, 50 other parents dealing with a 1-year-old going through cancer treatment in Tulsa. Right. I mean, that's you have to go nationally to find those people.
And internationally. I was emailing people in New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
I've talked to a mom in Greece. Yeah. His daughter was diagnosed the exact same month and year as mine. Yeah. Same age.
So I want to pivot a little bit, and I do really appreciate you being so transparent about that. I know it's not necessarily easy to talk about that topic, but you, Britney, have done such a good job of being willing to be transparent and use your experience as an opportunity to help other people.
Become an advocate for patients, our patients. It's
just
wonderful.
Honestly, for lack of a better word, a blessing to the pediatric cancer community. You have been that and continue to be that. So on a lighter note, you mentioned that you were on Big Brother.
I was, yeah.
And when you were 22 and 24. Mm-hmm. For the listening audience who maybe aspires to be on Big Brother, what did you have to do to get on that show?
You know what's really
You just call it? There's a phone number you call, or is it?
I did an open casting call, which they still do that. They still do open casting. And I actually was living in Arkansas at the time, but I did my open casting call in Tulsa.
Oh, okay.
I traveled to Tulsa, Oklahoma, to the Hard Rock Casino.
The big city. Yeah.
And let's bring it all back full circle. In that video, that very first tape, basically all they had to do was walk up on the stage and say why you think you should be on Big Brother. That was
What did you say?
I said, the amount of secondhand cigarette smoke that you have exposed me to today to bring me in here for this audition, I deserve this. Yeah. You now owe me.
Yes.
Thanks to all the exposures that you put me through today. Yeah. And that is a real true story. Yeah. And that is how I got on Big Brother. Open casting. Back in 2010, very young, fresh out of college.
A witty comment about secondhand smoke.
A witty secondhand smoke. Yeah. Because I was already worried back then.
Yeah. Get
your low dose CT lung screening.
Get your low dose. Yeah, exactly. Get your low dose. If you've been smoking, stop smoking, but then also do follow appropriate screening recommendations. So you did that, and then you took a break and have obviously focused on raising the kids and going through what you did with your oldest. But then you recently came back out of retirement.
That's right. I mean, I come back out of retirement.
It was for
every
a Christmas.
Time they ask.
It was a Christmas show, though, right?
Well, first
well, you did the Amazing Race.
I did the Amazing Race. I'm trying to think how Tilly would.
And you almost won that. Do I remember that season correctly?
Yeah. No. I was in second place.
So our kids are similar ages, and they were just about to turn 1 when you did the Amazing Race.
The youngest one. Yeah. So that would have, if she's 1, then Tilly would have been 5.
Yeah.
So I had between 1 and 5-year-olds, and I did Amazing Race. It was a really good choice.
Got to see a lot of the world. That's incredible.
Got to see a lot of the world. Not particularly suited for my skill set. Running around with a backpack proved to be a little more challenging than I expected.
Okay, yeah.
But I did do it. I sure did. I went on the
Check that box. Yeah.
Check that box. Actually, should we full circle this again?
Yeah.
Whenever I was on the Amazing Race in Uganda, I had a meltdown one time because I saw someone wearing, like in this market. I'm in like a market in Uganda. Yeah. Okay. Not where I would expect to see a St. Baldrick's shirt. And St. Baldrick's is an organization that raises money for pediatric cancer.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Total meltdown in that market.
Oh, wow.
It was just, I don't know. Yeah. It just hit me. I was already in like a fragile
your
state.
Kids probably.
Yeah. I was already just like emotionally not in a good place. And I look over and I saw a St. Baldrick's shirt and it just kind of wrecked me a little bit. And I had a bit of a meltdown that day and then lost right after. So it hit real hard. But anyway.
Yeah.
Always comes back. There's always like a full circle moment. But then after that, my next thing I think was Reindeer Games, which was like a holiday spinoff of Big Brother. And And that was fun and short, and the kids loved it because it was
now
like
that one
Santa.
you did actually legitimately have a shot at winning.
Well, yeah, because it was only 6 people to start.
How long did you film that? It seemed like 5 years because we really missed you at the Proton Center during that 10 days.
So short.
When we couldn't talk to you, but
10 days. And like I said, my kids loved watching that one because it was just
family friendly.
It had Santa on it. You
Oh,
know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So they loved that one. And then it was shortly thereafter that I did Traitors, season 3.
So Traitors, what is because I remember when you came to tell me, I need to put in some PTO.
Hey, I'm going to be gone.
But I don't know when.
But I can't really.
I can't tell you why.
At this job, by the way.
Yeah. I can't tell you where I'm going or what I'm doing, but just know that I won't have my phone with me.
Correct.
You won't be able to get a hold of me, and it may be a long time. Of course, then I could extrapolate at that point, like,
right.
Okay,
Just summer sabbatical.
Yeah. Like you probably weren't like hiking Antarctica or anything.
Right.
So what's the like day-to-day look like on the set at Traitors?
Traitors was some of the longest filming hours I ever had. It was brutal.
Yeah.
And I thought it was bad on reindeer games. It was so much worse on Traitors.
Yeah.
Long, super long days. Stressful. Oh my gosh, it was so stressful.
So when are you starting filming in the morning and when are you ending?
You're starting your days probably around 7 to 8, and then we would get back to our room sometimes at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
All meals there. And that's inclusive of like some sort of a challenge where you're out in the elements and you're running around and, you're cold, whatever. I mean, you really go through it for the course of that day. You start the day worried you're going to die, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be murdered at breakfast, right before breakfast. And then once you survive that, now you have to go survive a challenge. And then once you survive that challenge, you now have to survive the banishment table.
Okay.
And then as soon as you finish the banishment table,
you're
like,
safe, but then you might drink a glass of wine or something that's been poisoned and you're out. You never know.
Does this sound like a good idea for my personality
for
type to just go and do this? Yeah. I do it over and over.
I loved watching you on Traitors though, because you stayed so true to yourself on that show. I think what a lot of the audience watching maybe didn't know is you do kind of keep to yourself and you are kind of quiet, but you're also very vocal when you have an opinion on something.
Yeah, that's
and I think you kind of got not like a negative connotation, but I know you well enough to know like that was really hard for you to do.
Yeah.
And you crushed it.
And you're around so many big personalities.
Big personalities.
Like, these personalities are huge. These are not normal people. Everyone on reality TV is a little weird. Like something's off, something's wrong,
Right.
And so you put 20 of those people together. That's a lot of extremes and a lot of big personalities.
You're also a very intelligent player too, though. And I think you kind of went into it with that gamer, is that what we call it in this world, the gamer mindset. And so you had a strategy and you stuck to it and you made it.
And that's the essence of Big Brother.
The very end, right? Spoiler, sorry. That was season 3.
I like to say I came in second.
You did.
Because 4 people won and I was 5.
Right.
So technically I'm second place though.
Yeah.
I think so too. Runner up.
First loser.
I think
runner up.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, runner up. Yeah.
Love that for me. That's my best finish so far.
Man.
No, that's
that
fantastic. So is that, do you want to keep doing shows like that?
I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
It's fun. And I feel super lucky that I even have the opportunity to. My original season of Big Brother was so long ago. The fact that I even get a chance to do these things is crazy. That's I feel like not the norm. Like your average person who went on a reality show of a cast of 16, 15 years ago, like you're not still seeing them pop up on something else.
Yeah.
So I feel incredibly fortunate and
career longevity.
I do love it.
It's a little bit of like, LeBron James in the NBA. People are shocked that he's still playing and still playing at a high level. This is you in the reality TV circuit.
I don't know if I'm quite LeBron. Is there like somebody
you
lesser
didn't want to own
that we could
that played for a really long time?
For a long time.
I wonder though if you could have like a convention, like a 9 to 5, where you have this works for you, this formula where you're on reality TV show, but you're also working at a Proton Center and you're also podcasting on your own and doing incredible at that. So,
and I like working like a regular job too.
Yeah.
I actually really, really enjoy it. It ticks a lot of boxes for me, and it's not just
The
having a
routine
job.
of it.
It's not just the routine, but it's also meaningful
Right.
and impactful work, and it feels helpful, and there's a little bit of do good in there too. You know what I mean? And so I guess in theory, one could go get a lot of jobs. This one in particular, I felt fortunate to have to work with you guys because it is important to me. It is a message that matters, that's meaningful, that's helpful. I mean,
It's your community. You're
well,
in
and
Oklahoma.
I see the patient. I feel a little bit that I can relate to the patients who graduate and are they have so much gratitude.
Yeah.
And their experience was so good, which makes me really happy. Even as much as sometimes we behind the scenes can be like, oh my gosh, like there's this disaster. The patients are always first, and they always leave and have had a great experience.
Our disasters typically are like typos on a marketing material that got printed.
That time we spelled esophageal wrong. That was a real
That was a big
embarrassment.
one.
How do you spell Tuesday again?
Yeah, that was me.
But it's very much the duck's feet under the water, right? Like doing this, and for the patients and the experience that we give them and create for them, it's very above the water, and it's just smooth. And that's so important. And I know too how, on a personal level, how important those relationships are. Tilly's oncologist that we met the very first day whenever she was diagnosed, to me, he's like an angel walking on earth.
Yeah.
There is nothing I would not do for him. He left Tulsa and went to Dallas for a while. We traveled to Dallas.
Yeah.
I said, we will continue to see you. No thanks on that referral. I'm going to be now driving to Dallas to see you.
Providing good patient care is...
It matters so much more than I think people realize. And you really feel so grateful, and you really feel so attached to this time, in this vulnerable time that you were in. Any presence that was like solid and felt hopeful and felt warm and all of those things, I see our patients have that experience at the Proton Center. And I think that it's super meaningful for me because I can relate to that. I have those same experiences with other people in other places whenever Tilly was going through it. And so I know how they feel.
Well, and it takes a special doctor to work with pediatric cancer patients and be really good at it. Oh my gosh. And connect with the adults, but also connect with the kids. And I think we're fortunate with Dr. Chang at the Proton Center, our medical director, who treats the pediatric patients that come to Oklahoma Proton Center. He does such a good job. I mean, you ran into him. You ran into him at Target.
I did. We had a pediatric patient graduating, and we try to make those really special. And he was ringing the bell, so I'm in there just grabbing some fun things to do at the bell ringing. And I see Chang in the toy aisle. He's just perusing, looking for just a little gift to give him at his bell ringing. And that's
he had
above and beyond.
He had popped out of work
he was in all of his scrubs. He's on his phone talking to somebody. Yeah. He's in the checkout line.
And it matters so much to the parents of that patient. Yeah. Like if they feel comfortable and if they feel special to the physician, it's just so impactful. Yeah. And from a marketing standpoint, we couldn't ask for a more photogenic medical director than Dr. Chang. I mean, put that man in front of a camera.
We do all the time.
Yeah, he was on the Cancer Project podcast. He was so good, we had to do 2 episodes with him.
2 episodes.
So, we couldn't even fit it into one episode.
He's so good.
He puts up with us for sure.
You know, obviously, we pay you really well at the Proton Center, which allows you to break away and do reality TV.
Yes. Or take 100 vacations a year.
Or take 100 vacations. That's what it feels
earlier
like.
Today.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's, you have like a radiologist's PTO schedule. Do you get a per diem on the show? Like, I know you're going for prize money.
It's negotiated at the front end.
Okay.
But obviously, like my very first season, when 2010,
Big Brother. Okay.
Very first season of Big Brother, I was 22. It's peanuts.
Yeah.
Like it was such like a small amount of money. But at the time, I was fresh out of college. I'm like, oh, I get paid to do this. I would have done it for free.
Yeah.
Right.
This is great.
Yeah.
I would have done it for the free off-brand generic groceries that they provided me in the house. So, but then obviously as you get older and you have a bit more of a resume, things do increase. Yeah. But as like a total newbie, you're paid, you're compensated.
Their attitude is you're lucky that we even picked you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah.
And and it's not a lot.
It's hard. It's not hard out there for newbies.
Yeah. But and most of the people who go on it are
they just
younger.
Want the like exposure.
Yeah, it's just a fun experience. It's a very rare experience. Like hardly anyone gets to do that. And so you're hardly bothered by the paycheck.
Or if you're going on The Bachelor, you're looking for true love.
True love.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all.
Love Island.
Love
True
Island.
Love,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's all you want.
So The Amazing Race, like you said, a lot of that is about the experience and getting to travel the world. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And they don't pay. It doesn't pay a lot either. I think I lost money after I bought that backpack. Yeah, I think I did.
You had to buy workout clothes,
a compass. Yeah, like, are you kidding me? Those Brooks shoes. Those are expensive. I was going to say
Hoka's, but Brooks. Yeah.
I think I lost money, but I got free trips and airline miles. Miles. So you got to go back and retroactively like plug in all your itineraries and get the miles. So that was helpful.
What was the coolest place you got to visit on The Amazing Race?
I got to go to so many cool places and I was really excited because none of them were places that I had been before, but I really loved Tokyo and I really want to go back to Tokyo. I'm like a Disney person, as you know, and on the bus going, and that was our first stop. So this was like the race has just started and we're on the bus going into Tokyo and I saw Disneyland Tokyo out the window and I was like,
looking out the window.
I know. I was like, I wish I was here with my kids.
Who's your favorite Disney princess? These are some rapid fire questions.
Oh, favorite Disney princess? Mine is probably Elsa.
Okay.
Or Ariel. I like Ariel too.
I'm more of a Belle person, I think.
I can see that for you.
She's got a great book collection.
She sure does.
Oh, she does. She's a reader.
Yeah.
She's a reader.
Yeah, plus I love France. So that's a good call.
Yeah, and I like castles and old architecture. And she got to live in a really cool castle.
How about I ask you some questions, David?
Yeah, go for it.
You can ask me a question.
Are you up for it?
Put me on the spot.
Okay.
You said a question.
It can be, it can be. How
many chemotherapy agents exist that are developed primarily for the pediatric population?
That's a question that I do not know the answer to, but I'll take a guess. Okay. I'm going to say 10.
You're going to say 10.
Yeah.
There is one.
Okay. Wow.
Was developed in 2004.
Wow. So there's been no chemotherapy agent specifically developed for primary use in the pediatric population since 2004.
Correct. Even though the tumor types are incredibly different.
Yeah.
Your standard pediatric population tumor type is going to have certain genetic markers, right? It wasn't caused by, as is the case with adults most of the time, an environmental exposure, a toxin, any type of those things. Usually in a pediatric patient population, it has specific genetic biomarkers at its origin, and it's very different tumor type. And yet kids are still being treated with the exact same chemotherapy agents that you're treating adults with.
And is that just I guess, is that a factor of, I hate to use this word, but like capitalism? I mean, like the drug companies are saying, or I mean, because I guess there's got to be funding to develop those products. And
it's not very lucrative.
There's not that many patients. And
That's right. It's a very small patient population. It's very rare, and it's not very lucrative for pharmaceutical companies to come up with these agents.
Yeah. That seems like a good use of, for example, like federal grants or federal funding.
Yes, and I don't know if you've been watching the news.
Yeah.
It's a pretty dismal time right now in terms of federal
there's been
research
significant
and
funding cuts to the National Cancer Institute.
That's right.
As an example.
Which is why it's so important, particularly for pediatrics, to have independent research going on, to have independent clinical trials. And right now, a lot of immunotherapy type trials to push something forward, because kids are still getting the exact same chemotherapy agents that you would hear if you were 70 years old and diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Yeah.
A lot of the exact same chemotherapies. Doxorubicin is one that adult patients often complain about how harsh it is. It's like one of the worst ones.
Red
the
devil.
red devil.
Is that what it's called?
Tilly had that.
Oh, wow.
8 weeks old.
Oh my gosh.
One of her nurses told me that she had to go to the NICU and give chemotherapy once.
Oh my gosh.
And these are the exact same chemotherapy drugs that we are giving the adults, mostly developed in the 50s to 80s.
Yeah.
These chemotherapy agents have not been, they're not new.
Yeah.
They're old. They're old
Yeah.
chemotherapy agents, and they're blanket toxic chemotherapy agents. And that is what kids are still being treated with today. Those are what are in the protocols today, which is really disheartening.
It is. There's been a lot of advancements in the field of cancer, but there's certain diagnoses, there's certain subsets of cancer population, like for example, pediatrics, where maybe there hasn't been as many advancements over the years, and we've got to do better. We have to do better as a society, as a country, working on some of those advancements.
And in Childhood Cancer Month, you'll see a lot of times it'll say, go gold in September, or sometimes you'll see the slogan more than 4. And the reason that you see more than 4 is because 4% is the amount of funding that is put towards pediatrics.
Oh, wow.
Of all the cancers out there and of all the research we're doing, kids get 4%.
Yeah, wow.
And so you'll see a lot of times we're worth more than 4 or more than 4. It's an effort to try to get more targeted research when the average adult patient is going to see a survivorship of, I don't know, it's probably in the 30-ish years.
Yeah.
The average childhood cancer survivor is going to see a survivorship in the 70s.
Yeah, where that difference in the side effects of treatment has a much longer
Correct.
effect and a much more profound effect on the person. Well, I mean, A, because they're developing, and B, because like you said, they're just going to live a lot longer.
They're going to live longer.
Yeah.
Their survivorship is longer.
Do you want to hit me with another question?
I don't know. Let me think if I
have a question for you.
She really got you back for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Cyclotron question.
So, well, I've got a cyclotron question for you. So this is you would have heard me say this 4,000 times on cyclotron tours. How fast is the proton traveling when it comes out of the cyclotron?
It's like
at our facility.
I don't know, 98% the speed of light, or there's some percentage to the speed of light.
Yes, so that's correct.
She converted
there's a ratio, and it's related to the speed of light.
Okay.
It's not going quite that fast.
Okay, it's not 98.
No.
90?
No.
80.
Is it like 4 times the speed of light or something?
It's a fraction of the speed of light.
I don't know.
It's 2/3 the speed of light.
Super fast, David. The answer is super
That's a very
fast.
tough question. 2/3 the speed of light.
Okay, 2/3 the speed of light.
120,000 miles per second. Mm-hmm. The circumference of the Earth is 25,000 miles. Mm-hmm. So that means at 120,000 miles per second, that proton can get almost 5 times around the Earth in 1 second. So snap your finger. That's
Amazing.
how fast the proton's traveling.
98%.
It's clear.
It's
basically that.
We're splitting hairs.
Yeah.
At that point,
Tomato.
exactly. Yeah. At that point, it's going so fast. It's almost unfathomably fast.
Yeah.
It's hard for our minds to process that something could circle the Earth 5 times in 1 second. But then what's amazing is we can stop that proton inside a tumor with millimeter precision. We can say, this is where we want to stop it, and it's going to stop within...
At that Bragg peak.
At the Bragg peak, yeah, exactly.
William H. Bragg.
William H. Bragg. I didn't remember his middle initial, so...
I mean, I can still remember his black and white photo.
Yeah. I don't know
his the little graph next to it.
I think I could pick him out of a lineup.
There's like 2 photos online of him.
Yeah, right. I don't know his middle name. I'm going to go with Horatio.
I'm going to go with Herman.
I was going to say Harold.
So we have a Harold, a Horatio, and a Herman.
I'm going with Herman.
All right, we're going to look that up.
I'm doubling down.
We're going to look that up after the podcast. So.
Okay.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on today. I don't think that there's very many people like you in the world that have...
I think you're right. Yeah. You probably mean it in a positive way.
I do. I mean it in all the ways.
Okay.
No, I mean
in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody who's had the experiences that you've had in the entertainment world, has raised a beautiful family, has gone through pediatric cancer or a treatment of a kid, and is also giving back in the way that you're giving back now.
No, and now you made me remember something else I wanted to say.
Okay.
Can I just interrupt you again?
Yeah, totally. Go for it.
I will say, here's what I will say in response. Thank you very much, first of all. Thank you for the compliment. There was a time soon after her diagnosis and her treatment that I really, because my personality type is very dry and sarcastic, heavy on the sarcasm, lots of jokes. Okay? Right, I love to tell a joke and it's all about the punchline. There was a time where I felt a little bit like lost in what my new identity was going to be. Like, how was I going to marry these two ideas? How was I going to still be my old self who makes fun of everything, you know, is self-deprecating and
known for your witty sense of humor and your one-liners
and the dumb
everything is
commentary
so serious.
Over the dumbest things.
Yeah, I understand.
But then how am I also going to be a mom of a childhood cancer survivor who's been so deeply affected and, you know, gone through this very, very heavy experience? And how can these two people like exist in the same person? And there was so long that I worried that I would like never be back. Like I would never be able to fully go back to just being basically stupid. Like, you know, just like lowbrow.
Reality TV.
Sarcastic. I really worried for that because I thought, I don't know how I can have gone through this and have felt all the things that I felt and then, you know, go out and be performative and try to be funny and, you know, fight for Santa's bringing Christmas
whatever
to
very
the children of the
important
world.
game you were playing on the reindeer games. Rolling the dice or There
was a lot of times, there was a long time, I should say, where that was really difficult for me. And where I was kind of grappling with if I would ever really get back to it, if I would really ever be the same, because it is that impactful and it is that soul crushing. And I'm very happy and feel very blessed that Tilly is healthy and that she's doing well and that she's, you know, such a great kid and that she's been able to take it and take ownership of it so beautifully and that she has the heart that she does, that she's the person that she is.
Yeah.
Could I have ever gotten back to it in another scenario? I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
I think there's a metamorphosis that occurs when you go through cancer. A few weeks back, you showed me that quote from Princess Catherine, not Princess Kate. I learned that when we had the UK family here. It's Princess Catherine, not Kate. And she talked about, you know, she's gone through cancer treatment and she talked about being a new person. Like basically there's the before and then there's the after, and who I was before. There's elements of that in the after, but there's always going to be this, again, metamorphosis or evolution, and you
become something
else. You become something else. You are taking portions of yourself from before going through something as traumatic as a pediatric cancer diagnosis. But then, I don't know. I guess I've not gone through that, but I've heard a lot of patients at our facility talk about that.
It's a really strange thing, and it just took a lot of time for me. It just took a lot of time. And eventually I felt like I got there, but it was a very gradual process. And like I said, also because I was able to bring her in on the conversations and sort of, as she got older, you know, share a little bit more. And so that, I think, made it easier too. But it is something that you go through that is very odd.
Well, I'm hopeful too, just sitting here talking to us today, people see this other side of you that isn't just stupid or as you called yourself, you're not. These witty one-liners, you're funny. This is just such a profound part of your life, and hopefully this is something people will take away. And
funny GIFs too. If you, or is it GIFs? Is it GIFs or GIFs?
I call it GIFs.
It's GIFs,
but I might be wrong.
Yeah, if you, for those of you out there that need some great GIFs, just Google Britney Haynes GIF.
I know.
Or Britney Haynes Big Brother GIF. There's some great ones out there.
There are. I just feel like I can't use them because it just feels so narcissistic to insert like a GIF of yourself into a conversation. I can't do it.
Yeah.
But but I
use
do
yours
know
all
that
the
they
time.
exist, specifically the cringe face one.
I like that.
Oh
one.
yeah, yeah.
I used
One of
that
my
like last
favorites.
week.
Yeah, you've sent that to me before
Oh, yeah.
when I've sent you a text about something that was really
Yeah.
important to get done at work, and then
And my kids think that's
gift
very
back
cool.
Oh, yeah.
of Brittany cringing. Yeah. So
My
Or
kids
what's the
love
one
that.
where you're like doing
Yeah.
this? Yeah, I like to send that one too.
Yeah,
My
exactly.
kids love all the gifts. They
Yeah.
think that is like one of the best parts. I don't get paid for that, by the way.
Oh,
you
yeah,
don't,
no
you don't
royalties.
use a
Yeah,
gift and I
that's-
get a
yeah,
penny. It doesn't
no
work that
royalty.
way.
Yeah, it doesn't. You don't get
No, I wish.
half a penny. Yeah.
I wish. That'd be
Yeah.
so good.
I know. Yeah.
No.
Then you would be using your own gifts. At that
Then I
point.
would
Yeah.
be in excess.
Yeah,
Yeah. I would rig
exactly.
up like 10 iPhones that did nothing but sent them.
Just saying, yeah.
Yeah, all day, every day.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, like I said, Brittany, thank you so much for taking the time today. And for those of our audience who want to check out your podcast or your Patreon.
Yeah, my Patreon page where I'm currently discussing Big Brother 27. There's a
Okay.
season of Big Brother happening right
Yeah.
now. Actually, one of the contestants is someone who was on season 12 with me back in 2000.
Oh, wow.
And she's in the house this summer.
Oh, wow.
So it's super fun. It's patreon.com/Britney Haynes.
It's really funny.
And
I listen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the coverage.
Yeah.
That's where you can find me. And then on all socials, I'm Britney_Haynes.
Yeah.
She's at
Perfect.
OKC Proton. So what's her social?
Oh, yeah. The
I know. I'm going to
OKC.
get to promote this podcast
Yeah.
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
I get to promote my own self.
It'll be like sending a GIF of yourself.
I'm going to
Yeah,
write
exactly.
like a
Yeah.
third party
Yeah.
comment. Like,
Britney Haynes
check out
was-
the
yeah.
most amazing
Yeah.
guest we've
The
had
legendary
so far.
Britney Haynes,
Yeah, like
yeah.
this was a real treat.
Top
Big
tier.
booking.
Might
Yeah.
have put together the perfect podcast episode. Check it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
truly.
Exactly.
I know, and get to promote it. It's going to be
I like
fun.
it.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm going to boost that post.
That'll be I'll give you the corporate card so you
Okay,
can do
thank
that.
you.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Put a lot of money behind
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah, good. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
That'll be a wrap.